Hey guys, I wanted to go back over this with you on the phone. When I was talking on XDA about repairing the screen and everything, it's a long story. Most of it's already on there about how my screen got broke and everything. I did buy a new one off of eBay. It came in. I had already put the phone back together. I also had to buy a power cable for it, which I'm going to try to show you here. Runs alongside the phone right here. Just a second, let's see if we can get this into a little bit better. Yeah. And here's the thing. Right there where I'm pointing with the screwdriver, there's supposed to be another copper piece like you see right here. Well, when this came in from eBay, that copper piece was missing. I went ahead and put it on the phone, put the phone back together again because I wanted to see if this new screen and digitizer would work. It did, but because that copper piece is missing, my volume up would not work. So another member on XDA who wants to remain anonymous sent me apparently he had tried to repair one of his phones, this phone before, and something didn't go well. Dang it. So he had some spare parts, including that power cable, and he sent it to me, and I got it in the mail today. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the motherboard and disconnect everything and put that new power, or his used power cable on, so that hopefully my volume up will work. So anyway, let's see if we can get this process here. The two black screws that he talks about in the video are right here. There's one right here. And I am using a 000 Phillips screwdriver just like he did. And what I do is I just use an old cigarette wrapper, and then I got a piece of cellophane tape in there. And that way, when the screws, allergies, when the screws hit that tape, they stick and they don't go anywhere. The second screw is right on the other side of the board, across from it. Okay. And then he lifts up the antenna wire right here. And I know this thing is slightly out of focus. I'm using an old cheap old Logitech cam that my son actually uses for gaming and other stuff. So I know it's not the greatest, but he uses a pair of pliers to take this antenna wire off. I don't have a thin pair like he does. I wish I did. So I'm going to go extra slow and just kind of use my thumb there a little bit. And if that doesn't work, I have plenty of other tools laying around that will help. See, I just used a regular plastic pry tool that you'll get in any cell phone repair kit that you buy. on eBay. They're generic. There's thousands of them. And then the next thing that he does is disconnects the camera one right there, which he just did. And then the battery right here, which I just did. And then this one right here, which I just did. Okay. I think that's all of them. I don't think, make sure here if there was any more. And then basically, trying to remember if he actually removed the camera before he lifted the board. I can't remember, honestly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly lift the board a little and see. And if that doesn't work, then I'll put this. See, there's two little there's two little gray things here, like prongs that hold the board on. One here and one over here. Trying to get in closer. There's one. You can see them. They just go over. And one right there. So what I want to do is make sure there. I just got underneath it with this and just popped it up a little bit. And then of course when you do, it'll lift right up. You kind of gotta, I think, just like he said, just like angle it a little bit, because it is still underneath this prong over here too, slightly. But you can see I pulled it up and everything is cool now. Now, after he does this, he lifts it up, and we know that there's one on the other side here too. A connector, I should say, that also has to be brought up. And what's happening is there's the connector right there. And it's actually connected to I'll try to get in closer. It's actually connected to that power strip, or power cable, I should say. So that's got to come off. And see, again, I just got underneath it and popped it. If you were doing a full teardown and putting in a new housing slash LCD slash digitizer, this is where you would start removing your other parts. The camera, the speaker, all of these, I've already done it, all of these pop out fairly easy. They're just, it's just some tacky glue. The battery was pretty easy to unpry. You do got to get underneath it. Again, tools like this will help tremendously. Then I even found something like this on eBay that helped a lot to get underneath the battery to help it to come up. It's just one of those deals where you got to take your time and go slow, because the battery, if you try to get too aggressive, rough with it, you can actually bend it, and I don't know what will happen then, but it probably won't be good. So we're not going to do that. What I'm after today is this cable right here. And this thing has been a pain in my ass. Okay, now it just popped off this time. Reason being is this is the one that I got from eBay China. And now that it's off and you can see it up closer, I'll get it real close. You can see those copper points right there. And there's one. And there's supposed to be another one right here. And that would have been for my volume up. But as you can see, it is missing. And that's how it came in. And it was well packaged too. It didn't happen during shipment. So I can only think that it just came from China that way, I guess. And quality control didn't catch it. Whatever. And then I'm going to grab the cable that he sent me. Which is right here along with my old torn one. And what I'm going to do here, you can't see right now, but we will in a minute. Man, allergies are killing me. Okay, there are two little holes, or not holes, there's two little like stubs that pop up right here where you first put this cable in. You'll be able to see them. I realize you can't see them too well right here. And trust me, I'm wearing pretty powerful reading glasses to see them. But if you can see the holes in the cable, maybe. See those two holes? They got to line up on on this housing. And getting them to do that is not too bad. Okay, so they're lined up on there. Now, the other thing is once you do that, you get the first part down, then the two holes are lined up. This cable, you have to flip the phone up and actually, oh, you know what? We did. I'm going to just go ahead and do this real quick before we do. The other cable that we need to take off is right here. And I'm going to unpop that. And now the motherboard will just fall right off. Okay, that cable is on there on the first part. The tricky part is flipping the phone over and getting the cable to stick. And there are some little tongs that it has to slide underneath. There's really virtually no way for me to show this real up close. Not with this setup that I have. I can't get the camera up high enough. But I will be able to show you when I'm done. And anybody that has messed around with phones or any kind of small electronics, you'll see it and you'll know what I mean. The only thing that bothers me about the steel is I wish they had actually used an adhesive that stayed on a little better, but mine, when I took it off, like I said in the thread, that XDA, it was coming along real fine as I was removing it, just like the guy in the video on YouTube does. And then I got to like where the second copper connector is, and there was a huge bubble of glue. And I tried my very best to go around that and be careful and get the cable to come up in one piece, and it didn't work. It ripped. And oh man, I was like, because, you know, that was it. I was done. If I could get that on, my phone would have been done, because I had my new LCD and digitizer. But when the cable ripped, I was screwed. And I immediately went on eBay and started looking for a button cable power connector, and lo and behold, it happened to pop up on eBay. So that kind of tells me right there that you know, that's one of those items that if you're repairing this phone, there's a good chance that you could tear it. The other member at XDA said he removed his and he didn't have a problem. It came off fine. And like I said, God bless him. It's because I wish mine would have. It didn't. And I'm really thankful and grateful to him that he sent me his used one. The other thing, the seller on eBay, when I contacted him to tell him that this cable was bad, he asked me if I wanted to send it back or if I wanted a refund. And I said no. I said, please give me a refund. And the very next morning he did. That's pretty good. I mean, he didn't, you know, argue, debate, nothing. He just gave me the refund. It was $9.99 and $3 shipping. But it's like a 3 to 4 week delivery from China. So if you don't have one, you're without a phone for a month. So that was pretty good of him. Okay. Now, new cable's on. It's on pretty good. I'm just going to apply a little bit more pressure to it just to make sure that it sticks well. I'm going to try to show you, get it real close here. The autofocus on this camera absolutely sucks. Right here are some little prongs that goes under. But once it gets on there, you get it underneath those, as long as it sticks to the side of the phone. Because it does have a tendency to want to pull up when you put the board back on. Okay, now, the other thing when you put the board back on that you want to be careful with, first thing is you do have to get the camera cable right here to also come up through the hole so that you can reconnect it. You're going to have to use a plastic tool when you do that, because the speaker is right here above it, and it is magnetized, of course. So if you try to use something metal, it'll just pull down on whatever you're using, and it becomes a real pain in the butt then. This can be kind of tricky. But maybe I'll get lucky. Okay, when it came through there, Alright. The other thing is, all the other cables too, of course, want to get caught up underneath. Now, I could have done this the other way, and I probably should have, but I don't care. Either way's fine. I did this and set it down first without thinking. Duh. Like I said, you can learn from my mistakes. There's the battery cable that needs to come up too at the same time. We're going to start over again here. What we're going to do is, first thing, what he does in the video is he reconnects the motherboard first. That little cable right here, which is your power button volume keyboard, he connects it onto the back of the motherboard first. It's a tiny little connector. It's no big deal. You'll see how it fits. You just press down on it. As long as you've got it in the right position, it'll push in. If it doesn't feel like it's wanting to go and you're putting too much pressure on it, stop. Try and refit it again. Okay, now that's connected. I'm going to try to get the antenna wire out of the way here without disconnecting that power cable again. Come on, you turd. Thank you. Okay. And now, oh joy, stop. Get the battery cable back through. Okay. Get the battery cable itself. Okay. Should have actually just taken these other damn cables. No. Alright, first of all, I'm going to get that sucker out of the way. There. Now, we'll see if we can find the battery cable again and get this on there the way it's supposed to. There it is. And see, every time you do one of the damn things, it gets underneath the board again. Okay, there it goes. Okay. And look, you see what I mean? The cable, when I reconnected it to the motherboard, the power button volume cable popped loose. Most likely it will do that to you too. Unless you're really good. If you are, wow, come work on my phone. So I'm just pressing it back down again because it popped up. It's still connected to the board. That's the main thing. The other thing you got to do is when you lay the motherboard back down, all your cables are out so they're not underneath the board. Check and make sure. You'll kind of feel it. Here's the camera, the front camera right here, and you got to make sure that that gets pushed down into the housing, because if it doesn't and you tighten it back down, you know, your front camera is not going to work. And then what happens is you just push down on the motherboard and it will clip back in to place like it just did. Check the front camera, make sure it's cool. It is. And then from there you can start reconnecting everything just like he does. He is obviously a lot better at it than I am, so bear with me. making sure. See now that the battery cable right there, to me, it looks like it's slightly crooked, but it feels like it's connected. So, and I didn't put a lot of pressure on it, so I'm going to presume that it is. I'm not even really using the tools to reconnect this stuff. I'm just using my finger. That power cable is reconnected. Here's the battery cable. That's reconnected. This cable over here needs to be reconnected. Oops. Okay, that's reconnected. When they connect, you'll feel it. It's like, you know, you can actually feel it, even hear it slightly. The antenna, I saved it for last for a reason. Because last time I did this, to me it was the hardest one to reconnect. I don't know why, but it was. I guess it's because you're trying to get a round object connected to another round object. And if they don't line up perfectly right. But there it is. It's reconnected. Alright. Again, I didn't have to remove my parts. If you're going to do the whole frame, you have to take out the camera, which you just get underneath it with a plastic tool. It's got some tacky glue. Lift up on it gently, it'll pop out. Same thing with the speaker underneath, just like he does in the video. Follow the video, you'll be fine. Hopefully this one will help you too. Although I didn't, you know, show some of the other stuff that he did. Putting this antenna wire back in was a piece of cake. There's actually a groove that it goes in that runs alongside the phone. So it has its own little place that it sits. Everything is looking good there. I'm going to do one last thing. You see this damn cable on the side? Popped up a little bit again. So I'm pressing down on the area where there isn't a copper connector, because I don't want to press on one of those and break it. If you do, you've got the correct, just like I was. And what happens is when you press down on one, it's like a spring. When you press down on one end, the other end pops up. Just like a spring would. But it's pretty firm now, and it's underneath the grooves where it's supposed to be. I think we got everything reconnected properly. Okay, next step. Two little black screws. I'm going to cut my cellophane here to make it the screws easier to get to without hopefully losing any. One of the black screws off there. Probably not a bright idea to be using this little black table that I'm using. But it was the only place that was next to a window that gave me a lot of light and gave me a good spot to put the cable on. Okay, so that's one black screw in. The other one here. Guys, we're talking about magnetized screwdrivers on there. Yeah, my screwdrivers are magnetized. But, you know what I did? Like I said in the forum, I bought an old cheap old $1.69 one, thinking, you know, in case I didn't look in my kit. I was being lazy. And, I thought just in case I don't have one, I'll just buy one. Well, I might as well just have sent the guy $1.69 and told him to keep it because it was worthless. Okay, so those two black screws are back in the motherboard, one on each side. And like I said, everything is reconnected. From there, now here's the part where with my camera, kind of shitty, not much I can do. Just snap the housing back on. I'm gonna make sure of one thing here first. I'm checking to make sure that my camera is lined up and everything is reconnected properly. See, I just pressed on that one right there a little bit more, and I felt like another little snap, like maybe it wasn't tight enough. So, it's a good thing I did. This thing snaps right back on. Just work your way around it. Snap it on. I really like how this phone is built. I'm used to working on Samsungs, and I've done a couple HTCs too, but those were a while back. But replacing Samsung screens, you know what that is. Using the hair dryer and getting the local glue off of and all that, and then using the double-sided tape, and it's a pain in the butt. Blah blah blah. That's on pretty good. Before I put the screws in, and I'm sorry that I didn't show you taking this apart, but just like he does on the thing on his video, you literally do get in between it right there and just press hard with a plastic tool, and eventually you'll start a little pop, and then just start working your way around like he does on each side. Once you get this side, try to flip it over, get that side, then go to the bottom of the phone and do it. Once the bottom is up, it lifts right off. It's a piece of cake. Here's the defining moment. We're going to try powering it on and hope the phone works. And guess what? It does. Powered on. Give it a second. Let it start up. Got fingerprints all over it, so I'll have to clean it. The other thing I did too was I bought, which you can't really see it here, but I bought one of those, the hard glass that you put on the phone. And anybody that owns this phone, I paid $9 for it. Seemed like a good quality brand. Can't remember the name of it now, but anyway, it came in a box. And you got to get one of those if you own this phone. So it will help protect the screen. And see, all that stuff when I first got the phone, I only had it for like a day and a half, and I was just messing around with it, and I was getting ready to order all those parts. And I let a 7-year-old play around with my phone. Dumb move. If I can find it, I wanted to see. This is proof that you can actually find some reasonable prices for cases on eBay. This is not, this cost $3 from China. And it does have a lip that comes around, that comes over the top of the screen. So if the phone were to fall like that, it's going to hit the plastic lip before it hits the screen. for $3. I didn't get one of those the more expensive ones yet, but I am going to get one. Okay. Now, screen powers, phone power's on, everything's working. I want to see if the volume works, and it does. Now I have volume down and volume up. So I'm good to go. I'll put my screws back in. Like I said, I hope this whole thing will help somebody out there if your phone happens to get broke. Because without the videos and people helping each other, we're all screwed, you know. And again, I'm really grateful to the one member who sent me his cable. Yeah, he wants to remain anonymous, so he will. But yeah, that's what it's all about, is helping each other. So, thank you guys. We'll cut out here.